This is your daily market review for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Hopefully you're having a great day. Interesting volatility action. Anyone who's been following the channel knows we've been talking about this. Traders market volatility headlines are going to control the near-term action as we, again, go through the negotiation of tariffs and all sorts of things related to potentially World War III. And I will just state that, again, whether you like Trump or not, he typically has gotten what he wants. Whether you look at back in 2020 when he was able to end all the wars, he was about to destroy China in a trade war. And again, as much as you don't like the guy and the guy's kind of a joke, he does know how to wield the power that America is as a country, our military, our economic strength. And it's going to be interesting. So the next couple of weeks, don't be surprised if it's volatile. And again, I think we talked about being oversold, so you need to be looking for bounces near term. And so again, whether you like the guy or not, this channel is not about that. It's about making money. We're expecting near term that we might be oversold, but again, you have to have your head. You have to have your head on a swivel. Again, if we talked about if you shorted the highs, you're managing your positions, you're hedging some, you're acting accordingly. And if you're looking to buy dips, please, for the love of God, have stops. Do not let them get crushed out because you can always rebuy later. Again, small losses are easy to make to make the money back. Big ones are not. So again, I appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. Again, if you've been following on stock twits, I apologize. They banned me. Why? I have no clue. They won't answer. So if you're struggling to figure out where I am not, why I'm not, you might want to join the Discord room or jump in or follow on Twitter. Again, if you want the link to the Discord room, it's in the description below. If you want to chat, use the Calendly link. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, another happy client who used a agent friend of mine in Florida, absolutely 5-star service. Again, let me help you find the best agents in your area. Do not go to a mediocre agent for the same price. Literally, think about it. Real estate is very competitive. 70% of agents only did 0 to 1 deals last year. If you're working with someone that doesn't do deals and is not involved in the market, and you're not getting the marketing, you're not going to sell your house for a great price. And if also they don't know how to find houses and deals, you're working with mediocre agents. Why? Again, this is your largest asset. Do not sleep on this. It'd be like going to a mediocre doctor, mediocre lawyer for your most important life events. Why would you do this? I don't get it, but people do anyway. Discount brokers get discount results. Again, sometimes costs sellers 4 to 5%. And they tried to save money and it ends up hurting them. But anyway, again, if you want, follow Post and Trades on Twitter. Also, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube so you know these videos come out. And again, I apologize if I'm coming out late. I had a busy day. That's part of it, though. Try to keep people updated best I can. Also, follow, like, subscribe, and then check out the website, tradingagent.com. Turn profits into properties and passive income. Lots of good resources, real estate related, the recommended reading, some of the tweets, what's going on. And again, if you want to connect with me, holler at your boy. We know the CMA watch tool. Again, there's nothing coming expected for March, but just keep an eye on it. And again, as of right now, there's only one rate cut potentially scheduled for later in the year. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin, we talked about this. Again, it's a big chop zone. Once the bottom broke the bottom, you probably had more price, lower to go. Again, I don't trust any asset class blindly. Again, whether you want to hodl forever, again, you want to believe Michael Saylor, you want to believe anybody, I would always trade the asset. I trade metals. I trade the gold. Why would you? Again, you don't ever know. Because again, imagine if you bought silver in 1980, and you're still going, oh, one day it'll get over 100 again. Crypto, we hope we go again. HODL is not an investment strategy. Hold winners. If a stock or an asset class doesn't perform, you got to be careful. I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't perform long term, but if you trade around your positions, you took profits as we talked about going into the chop zone. Now on pullbacks, you want to trade it. Great. You need to get back over 94,000 to confirm any sort of potential to get back to 108. Then that could take you to higher prices. Again, I expect at some point this will go lower or retest at worst. That's my guess. Again, I'm holding me to it. Just like we talk about retest, the zones matter. You know, that's why you watch the channel. Oil, talked about a lot of the oil names to me are interesting. We got a nice rally back as the day went on. Keep an eye on it. Oil touched our famous 67 area. This big yellow box has been massive support for what seems like, as Forever? Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Yeah, forever didn't feel so long until it was gone. Outcast. Yeah, keep an eye on this level. If it breaks into it and starts getting weaker, you know, you got to dump positions. But one of my favorite trades now putting on, which would make sense, is oil and gas sands. We'll talk about that near term. Natty gas, again, holding up pretty damn well. Not much to say there. We'd like this long term. I'd like to see it on pullbacks. Dollar got shafted today on the tariffs. We'll see if it holds the channel low, but it seems to be trading pretty technically, even with this chaos. Channel high, channel low, channel high, channel low. If it breaks the channel low, keep an eye on it. Okay, TLT, again, we talked about this one probably going to be stuck until what? Jobs numbers on Friday. Seems like that's going to be the case. Again, this is why we talk about you manage your positions. You can hedge sometimes. Again, this is what I love about trends is when you know a trend and you're not just some idiot who thinks stocks go up all day, every day, you recognize like trends are meant to be leveraged. That's what the pros are doing. VIX got up into the 26s. Interesting. Close. Again, right back at the 23 level. They're making this really funky, y'all. This area, obviously, again, this is why you watch these videos. Again, leave a like, comment below if you recognize some of the patterns that you would have seen on your own. This level matters. We close right at it. I personally think near term, unless the tariffs get worse, you're probably going to consolidate, in my opinion. Again, a recession is coming. Like this, when you cut government spending, you do the tariffs, you try to like initiate a trade war. Again, money will come back in, but government spending has been basically what GDP is for months, for years. I mean, that's literally the whole last 4 years of economic growth. Again, if you took out government spending, we had no growth. All we had was government spending with inflation, and we had inflation. It's not good. The VIX, again, looks a little weird now. I don't know. Keep an eye on it. SPY guy. I mean, I'm impressed that we rallied back, but here's what's interesting. We talked about the potentialities of all things, right? I mean, I would be watching now. This is what gets interesting, the 200-day. It's also start of another VAP zone. When you zoom out, it's not a crazy one, but the 200-day, typically the first test of it is a buy. Just so you know, again, bears, bulls, whatever. Anytime you, I mean, why is the 200-day not showing? Yeah, anytime you ride it, I mean, sometimes you get trends where you don't get it. Look at this. There you got below it, bounce back. Trying to think of some better like here you go. This was one, but again, you can go below it technically and not be too much. But the thing that's really interesting, and this is where I was surprised again. I apologize, I didn't really do much of it. When the trend is very steep, the 200-day becomes a little more important. Now, a lot of people are like, dude, you're all over the place. And it's like, no, you just got to remember, right? If you go from the highs down to the lows, the market's going to be looking for support. When you have the 200-day and the VAP all in the same area, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, again, if it breaks, this is where I would be looking for like the real, like I said, if you've seen the previously, like I was showing you, there's little traps below the 200-day. This is the next area I'd be watching for. So again, take a picture, snapshot it, pause it, whatever you need to do, add the levels. Again, I personally think we're oversold near term, but again, it can be a little wild. Like look today, like the Qs. This is why we talk about the VAP zones. Here you go. Broke below the 200-day, came right back. Again, typically when you start a down move, the 20-day becomes resistance and you back test it at some point. I'm thinking at some point that we get up here. And it could be like March could be one of those months. You start down, you rally back to OPEX, and then who knows? Keep an eye on it, right? Like, I mean, I personally think that could easily happen because we have gotten oversold and now we know what's out here. Remember, like markets really likes to know when something's happening. If it doesn't know, that's when it gets scary. Right? At least if you know if the tariffs are coming. IWM looks like it's oversold. Big doji again on heavy volume. Keep an eye on it. DIA. This one's been lagging in the sense it's just not making, it just kind of looks kind of crappy. I don't know. DIA for a long time was leading. It's not. Just worth an eyeball. Gold. I know a lot of folks who are, again, excited about gold. We'll keep an eye on it. I personally said, again, love it long term. We hit the monthly upside target. It's tough to trust. Again, they throw the baby out the bathwater when the liquidity gets sold. Near term, again, watch the dollar. If the dollar breaks, gold could go nuts. This could be silver. I mean, that's why I kind of like oil, gas potentially here. If silver and everything kind of confirms this too, like you're going to get the rotation at some point out of tech and into commodities. That's my opinion. Again, who wins the tech war, again, I don't want to pick the soldiers of the country. I want the bullets, and the bullets are inputs. So keep an eye on silver. Again, I wouldn't trust it until it gets over. Seasonality wise, I mean, once you get through March, remember the second quarter is typically not bullish gold and silver, just so y'all know. GDX seems to be lagging, not confirming the retest when gold's starting to rip back to the highs. Like I want to see miners cooking. They seem to kind of stuck. So again, more evidence needed. Yeah, potentially worth an eye. And again, if you're trading this stuff for the long term, be safe. AEM trading the 20-day. AG seems to be got nothing on it. Nothing. Newmont. Keeping on it, right? PAAS. Keeping on it, right? Chopping around. Whew, sorry, I just got a text. Oh, sorry. Yeah, keeping on it. Anyway, keeping on it. Again, I like commodities, but I don't trust them necessarily near term. I would rather trade them, and I think there's better opportunities in other commodities. Again, stick around to the oil and gas ones at the end. Taiwan Semi, getting the big money investment, right? Not surprised. Little bounce, 200-day. Again, I would be watching this 100-day. It's been massive resistance or support all the way. Micron, let's speed these up. Again, I don't like Micron. I think they suck. But whatever, it seems to be chopping. You've got a trading range, 80s up to a buck. I don't know, 200 days. Seems that 200 days is the key. AMZN, this one again, another one that I think is going massively lower in time, but it's oversold. I mean, look at this. It goes from buck 76 down to 97. I mean, that's about as straight line as you can get, right? Like little baby chops. If it needs a bounce, it makes sense. Again, I personally think semiconductors, again, pricing is going to get smoked. NVIDIA, we talked about this is the short of 2025. You're welcome. 99% it's over. There you go. You had the high. Now we broke the primary trend. Again, if the market holds up, I find that I have a feeling this one's going to lag. That's what I'd be watching for. Lagging. I mean, it's making new lows. I mean, this is a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. Doesn't mean it can't get down to. It doesn't mean it can't bounce within the channel, though. Keep an eye on that. SMCI, I know folks trying to trade this one. I mean, you're at the 150-day. I mean, that makes sense it would bounce here. I mean, it's just tough to trust that one. Intel, again, back down to 20. You're welcome. Told you guys, again, I think it's a charity buyout. If it gets bought out, cool. If it doesn't, right? I'd be watching these levels down here. Again, if we get back down there, great. Again, I don't think there's a buyout premium if it's going to get bought out somewhere in the mid to low 20s. I'm consistent with that one. AVGO, this one 200-day coming in touch. Again, I don't trust AVGO. Again, Apple's going to make their own wireless chips. I don't think, again, these companies, again, it's so competitive and everyone starts competing and it's just ugly. SMH, again, if you had the socks this though, you probably need a hedge if you got up towards 27. Expect probably, I don't know, retest it somewhere in the low 20s. SMH, same kind of thing, right? It could bounce here. Trade wars, we'll see all this stuff. Again, I personally, again, like this is like, look at the market as the Qs were making new highs and SPYs making this thing is topped a year ago. People don't realize like semiconductors have been lagging because all they look at is NVIDIA or a few of the names. Again, overall, the whole sector looks pretty shitty. Again, hence why short the weakest. Short the, when the leaders stop leading, they're not leaders anymore. Adobe seems to be chopping around, keeping on it. Apple, again, we like the short on this one. We talked about this. Right, shorting up here is a gift. Next couple days, I'd be watching. I feel like it'll probably lag, but if that gap fills, oof. Amazon, again, I like this one for a bounce, right? 200-day, keeping on it. Meta, I think these are due to bounce as well. Oversold near term. I don't know. Keep an eye on it. Again, it's just some names are better than others. Like CRM to me, getting a little interesting here. 200-day. Keep an eye on it, right? Keep an eye on it. Due to bounce, double top, pretty oversold. Again, there's certain names to me that look like better to bounce. Like Google was one that I like right here. You're at the blue zone. Goes from 208 down to 160. Boom. Booyakasha. Microsoft, this one feels like it should bounce. I just don't like Microsoft. But again, weaker dollar typically helps them. We'll see what happens here. I mean, this could be a really good bounce trade. Again, some of these names. NDAQ, again, just on time. Just to say as much as I hate the Nasdaq exchange, because again, I think commodities will not be the leaders. Look what happens here. It's holding up pretty well, but again, I think in time it gets crushed. MicroStrategy, we talked about this one. The 200-day was a gift. Man, you even got close today. Again, trade it. Again, I think if you want to buy it and not necessarily trade it, use your lows as the reference. Right? I mean, imagine risking $5, $10 to make $100, $200, $300, whatever it ends up being. And if it goes up $100, you take some profits. I mean, this is part of the game. And Netflix, This one looks a little, I don't know, tough, meaning it's holding the gap in the 50-day. But again, after a monster run, think about running a marathon. There's probably not much momentum left. Just keep an eye on it. I'd be watching it. Roblox, right? This one's interesting, right? Chopping around. PanW, again, I like cybersecurity names. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Tesla, again, played the bounce, got stopped out this morning, and then it was like, watch this area. I said, watch 270. Sorry, 267. Was it 267? I can't remember the exact number. Again, it's been a long day. I like the trade here. Again, I mean, this is what's so hard is traps at the highs and the low. You're like, oh, it can only go. Oh, it can only go. It's getting a little funky down here. Just keep an eye on it. Again, to me, the risk reward is up, not down. Insight, talked about this one. I think they get bought out over time. Just, again, wait for dips if it gives you the opportunity. Hims, hers, right? We talked about this thing. To me, is kind of a donkey. I mean, you chase the highs, you get stuck. Now you're in the consolidation pattern. The consolidation pattern, again, use the reference lows to buy against. But if it doesn't hold, I mean, wouldn't be surprised you test like the 30s, like low 30s, sorry. Again, I personally wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. I mean, the move is over. Now it needs to consolidate, right? People just don't understand this. And the consolidation phase can be fairly frustrating because the market can do well. And what will it do? It could get stuck. Palantir, this is interesting, right? Holding resistance around 80. I think you can trade right off of that. Baba, again, this one to me feels like a blow off. I'm not touching that. Coin, we talked about bouncing here. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Posted this yesterday. Looks pretty good. I mean, again, this is why I don't bring rulers to trading. Like I have trend lines, but sometimes I do trend boxes. Boom, hit the low end of the box. Perfect. Bouncing. Again, I think these are due to bounce. And I'm not saying you need to go crazy and buy for the long run. I think they just have good bounce potential. Right, McDonald's, this one's interesting, right? Look at the wick today. I saw this one. I was like, man, this thing's up 6 or 7 points. Whoop, gave it right back up. DKNG, again, I think this one's a turd. People get mad when I say that. Okay. Again, it's oversold near term. Airbnb, this one had a nice rise, gave it back, filled the gap. Now it's going to consolidate. Keep it simple, stupid. Costco earnings Thursday. Please be careful. I don't know. This thing has been on a whopper of a run. Don't get nuts up here. If I was you and then IV is up, I would be selling options against it if you're long, not expecting bigger bounce. Good old Starbucks, told you this piece of shit was going to break at some point. Again, can't really consider it a break, but we talked about like this run was not going to hold up at some point. Notice where it broke or where it failed. The blue zones. You're like, what blue zones? You're like, yeah, this is why we draw this stuff. Go back. Now, again, could it be just a pullback and chop around? Yeah, but now I think you have a reference. If you want to short up here with a tight stop, again, dollar to make 10 or 15 points, pretty solid. Federal Express, keep an eye on this one, right? Again, oops, come on, FedEx, open up. I hate when the computer is a little slow. FedEx, here we go. Keep an eye on this one. It seems, again, things you don't expect if the economy is really that strong. Like FedEx just chopping around doesn't really look that good. Caterpillar to me looks really interesting here. Look at today's action. Doji at the blue zone. At an old like weird trend line. I know if I go back, this one makes sense for another bounce. Again, there's some trades out there I think for a bounce. Deere's been on fire. I'm not really too keen on chasing this one. I mean, it's probably due to bounce, but Nucor, again, we like the copper. We like steel. We like all these names. Let them come in. Again, I don't know if I trust steel so much right now because, again, I think that they'll be more affected by tariffs. I don't think oil will be, but I could be wrong. Keep an eye on X. Again, we know it's going to get bought out at some point. VALE, keep an eye on this one, right? Again, I think they get bought out. Not bought out, sorry. They have much higher to go, but it's just going to be one of those things where you could, is it going to be a V bottom? Probably not. Arrow, look at this, 11.11 the bottom. I like this one for a bounce, but again, it might not be that great. It might be only a point or two, but if you're stuffing this one in your portfolio for long term, junior copper makes sense to me. Big time. CCJ, we talked about this one. Testing the 40 area. Booyakasha. You're welcome. Again, not going to just toot my own horn here. I'm wrong at times, but when I'm right, I like to say it as well. Again, keep an eye on this one. CF, again, we like ag names a lot. But let them play out. Be safe with them. Again, I don't know when the right time to buy. I think Mosaic makes sense here. We talked about this. Huge volume at the low after a big, nasty downtrend. I mean, keep an eye on this one. This makes sense down here, right? Like, again, this is one I think you can buy with a tight stop. NTR, again, this one's interesting. We like the ag names. Let them pull back. Aaron, love aluminum long term. Let it pull back. Right? Like you're probably pretty damn close. on some of these names. Again, it's just how much risk do you want to put on before the market bottoms. I don't think the market's truly bottomed. XLF, we talked about this when the banks hold everything. We're like, man, these tricky fuckers. Booyah. Congrats. Again, JP Morgan was saying, bought puts a couple weeks ago. I was like, I'll be fine. Summer puts, here you go. Finally back. Here we go. Watch the 100-day. Not surprised to bounce here. Again, I've got June on them. I'll manage them accordingly. Again, I got other things going, so I'm not really too worried about it because the puts were pretty damn cheap for June. Again, when the IB was super low on those fuckers. Morgan Stanley kind of breaking the 100-day. Again, I'm telling you, banks hold all the risk here. We've talked about this, right? If you have a recession, Bank of America, these candles are ugly. And not to say that they can't bounce. And this is what I wouldn't be surprised at is like you get these ugly ass candles and then you get some bounce at them. Keep an eye on them. Like KRE, we've talked about this thing. Like anyone, you got to be out of your mind to be buying junior banks. Keep an eye on that. XBI was a good one that was showing risk on, risk off. This one back at the range lows. Probably due to bounce. Keep an eye on it. Jets, talked about this one breaking the 100-day. Yikes. If oil starts rallying, oh man, these things could get fucking cooked. Slower economy? Yeah, you bet your ass. XHB, again, housing not looking so good. Okay. Near term, man, it feels like it's due to bounce. Maybe it's just the 8 and 10 day. That's what it's all it's doing. Keep an eye on. Again, I wouldn't be short and lows on things. Sometimes that's suicidal. Let's end with solar and oil and gas. Oil and gas, solar's been just rocked. Probably due to bounce, actually. Look at these names. They pull back. ENPH, right? Again, I think ENPH is going to go out of business at some point, or they're going to get bought out at a low price. I don't trust them. If I was going to trade a bounce in any solar name, it's going to be First Solar all day. You're at support, real simple here. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Especially if oil has a nice bounce in it coming. HYG, again, you got to be out of your mind to buy corporate debt. Not going to say anymore. Oil is where it gets really interesting here. Oversold technically. Does it mean, how strong is it bounce? I don't know. Keep an eye on it, right? UNG, again, natural gas seems to be holding up. So this is going to be helping the oil and gas situation, in that sector. Keep an eye on it. KOLD seems to be holding up pretty well. UNG holding up well. KOLD, and if you short in the 80s, we talk about taking profits. Again, I personally, we talk about these decaying things. That's why they're just awesome. These decaying products, you can get shares short, they're great. It's just, I don't know if the risk reward is really worth keeping at this point, meaning holding out for more points when you just go and maybe the play is XOP here. Again, big volume at the lows, gap down, big, wide, and loose. Again, I think you can identify really easy trades right there. I like the XOP. You could probably, again, if you buy the Gush in the 22s with a dollar stop, you could probably make 30, 40% pretty quick if this thing rallies back. CVE, again, I like it down here. Volume is increasing. It feels like capitulation mode. Again, even if it's not, a straight line move typically leads to a counter rally after a big down move. Again, leave a comment below if you're touching these. I'm curious because I am going to be touching them. MPC, but gasoline names typically bottom first. We'll see. They seem to be choppy. I don't really have much on them. ExxonMobil, again, we've talked about this one, kind of just chopping around. I don't get excited about Exxon because it's a mega cap, but BP makes sense, right? We talked about this one, like buying it down here. Said yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if we got back into the 30 area. Booyah. Again, this one I think is a buyout target worth a watch. Occidental, again, I don't think Buffett's going to lose on this motherfucker. Again, he's probably buying more stock down here. He's going to probably buy the whole company if he can. Either way, I like this area with tight stops. I know some folks playing this. EQT, this has been a gas name that's holding up pretty well. Solid company right now that they finally getting their hedges right. Keep an eye on this one. I'm not saying you can't buy this one here, but it's tough to chase. And last but not least, Flex LNG. I like this. I think we'll be natural gas exporters with a juicy 11% dividend. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I appreciate all love, support, donations. If you'd like to donate, links description below. Also, if you want to reach out to StockTwits and ask them why they banned me, I'd appreciate it. If not, oh well, screw them. Nothing we can do about it. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.